Shifting gears a little bit, this is interesting. I'm super curious to hear what you think about Anthropic's pledge to watermarking all of its content. This is a transparency move that is all thanks to the EU's AI Act, which has, I think, a deadline or had a deadline of August 2nd for enabling labeling rules. Anthropic basically announced that they're going to be embedding watermarks into everything that Claude produces. C2PA signed provenance metadata. They say text watermarks baked into the writing itself that Anthropic puts out. It will apply to all of their products. Any model released from August 2nd onward would support the watermarking, and actually they're also working on adding the watermarking to the models before it. Text watermarking it's not a new thing, but I don't know a whole lot about it. Like, on its surface, it just sounds hilarious to me. It's like when I think of watermark and hidden watermark, I think of data that's there that you don't see, but in this case, it's patterns that are there that you don't recognize. Is that right?
Right.
Text
Yes,
watermarking, essentially patterns for the most part.
So last week we talked about this a bit, where in the context of the EU requiring labeling of AI.
Yes.
And that's one step here. And last week I said that I thought this was just the new cookie click. Mm-hmm. Everything is going to be marked as AI as a result. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now we have this next requirement, which is watermarking. And I see it in that context of, to some extent, I don't care. So that it's made with AI. Why are you making a big deal of it right now? When we're going to find that most everything is going to have some AI touching it. And so what does it mean to label it? All right. Yeah. So then the problem becomes, as I mentioned earlier with Moby Dick, these AI detection tools are worthless.
Yep.
Not 100% worthless, but with enough doubt that you shouldn't make judgments about them. You certainly shouldn't judge students.
Yeah, as is anything in the world of generative AI, nothing is 100% factual, nothing is 100% accurate. Neither are these detection mechanisms. As you pointed out with Moby Dick, which I think is a perfect example of, like, if they're saying that about Moby Dick, then why on earth do you put any sort of semblance of trust or respect behind the number that it comes back with? Right.
So now we have watermarking, and I think it's a technical solution when that's not, it's techno-solutionism. And I think that's a mistake. The problem is technology. The solution isn't always technology. The problem is going to be individuals. It's going to be authors and publishers and professors. And just all of us are going to have to judge whether we trust people. And we're going to have to refigure out our norms around that. And that's not easy, and it's not clear, and it's not automatic. The other thing I don't understand about the text watermarking is that Anthropic is saying that it will enable people to then detect the watermarks. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that's going to work. If they tell you how it's watermarked, then that it seems must have taken away. So I'm going to guess they're going to provide a tool that will say, oh, I looked at it, I found our watermark, or I didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of what I assume. Yeah.
But it's not going to be hard to reverse engineer that, number one.
No.
Number two, go ahead.
No. Keep going.
Well, just my number two is simply, I wonder if it's embedded in the meaning of the text itself. You know, it used this word instead of that word in a way that only Anthropic knows it would do. That changes the meaning of text.
Yes, it does.
That's troubling to me, just in terms of how we look at our own human language.
Right.
That there become these hidden, secret signals of non-humanity. And I don't know, that bugs me in a way. So go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's kind of where I was headed, which is when I kind of saw this news and really thought about this, I was like, we already have AI watermarking. When I read an article, I often will read an AI-ism, if you want to call it that, and go, oh, I mean, it's possible that the person wrote this, but I commonly see that as output from an AI. You know, that's a thing that, you're right to push back on that. You know, the different things that we jokingly refer to as the tells that something is written by AI, that to me that strikes me as its own kind of watermarking that doesn't require a technology, nor does it require Anthropic to manufacture itself new ways of and patterns of producing text that tells on itself essentially.
Let's go to Daniel in the comments. Raises a really good point. The watermarking can be affected by running the text through apps like Quillbot or other word changing apps.
Potentially, if they
can figure it out.
If they figure out the things that can be undone or whatever, which I mean, you put up a barrier or put up a restriction or a guardrail or whatever, and I'm sure companies like that are going to start putting their research into figuring those things out so that they can differentiate their product and say, see, this gets you around the watermark that Anthropic, blah, blah, blah. So, it's an arms race in itself.
So there's an interesting, did you follow the Hank Green controversy about AI content?
Remind me.
So I have, it's in the last few weeks. I have a tremendous admiration for Hank Green. I think he and his brother John have done wonders for the internet, and they show what a good internet is and can be. And he's beloved on YouTube. So Hank put up a video on July 22, a video titled, "You Have Never Seen a Normal Star." In one section of the video, I'm reading from Plagiarism Today. I don't think this is plagiarism, by the way. Green included a graphic showing how much spheres increase in volume as compared to their radius. That would be radii, I think, but I'm a human. Though it's unclear where he obtained the graphic, it was clearly AI generated. Not only did the graphic bear a resemblance to AI work, but the math was wrong. Hank apologized for this and said he was simply in a rush and found the image online. He also removed the section of the video where the graphic appeared. However, just a week later, on July 29, Hank posted an Ask Hank Anything video that featured fellow creator Soupy Time. During a cutaway to future Hank, he says the line, "I appreciate the pushback," seemingly out of nowhere. Many recognize the line as something an AI chatbot would say. So now Hank's kind of in his shell because of all this. And there's suspicion even given to Hank Green. Oh, you stepped off once. I think we should presume that everyone is going to use AI at some point when they're rushed. The problem is going to be when they didn't make that check. Whether it came from a freelancer or it came from AI or it came from a Google search or it came from Wikipedia. It's going to be, it's not a question of whether it's AI generated or not. It's a question of whether you checked it or not. And Hank, put up his penalty hand and said, oops, I should have checked it. And I didn't. I was rushed. We're all going to do that. And I think this judgmental piece of thinking that we can catch any AI, I gotcha, is foolish.
Yeah, and especially as I think about this, especially as these tools, one of the big benefits that is telegraphed about these tools and parroted all the time is how much faster and more efficient and quicker it makes you as a human, right? I let it do the thing for me so I can move faster, I can get more done. And the more people are getting more done faster, the more pressure is upon you to also meet them at that
Absolutely.
speed. And that's when you start to make those lapses of check because you're merely trying to keep up.
I had coffee with a professor at Seton Hall who teaches journalism history yesterday. And I asked him, because every professor talks about AI now, and he had a lot of empathy with the students. They want to do good work, and this is a way to make the work better. And they deal with that. I just put this up at the bottom of the rundown before we got on. I just saw it seconds before. Wired said, "Oh Lord, AI reporters are actually breaking the news." They covered the Black Hat conference and Runtime Wire from video of the presentation about the OpenAI breach, call it what you want. Wired had to, with chagrin, say that Runtime Wire, with no one in the room, beat Wired with the story by 3 hours. I also talked yesterday to Nicholas DeLeon, who happens to be a Consumer Reports writer, but he's also around. And he was on Twit Sunday, and he's going to be on Intelligent Machines today. He started a totally AI-generated news outlet in Tucson, Arizona. And he mentioned another one in, I think it's Connecticut, and there's others. And some people were yelling about this stuff and calling it slop. But on the other hand, and I'm trying to work with this in New Jersey, where nobody can afford to cover every school board meeting anymore, and every town meeting, every zoning board meeting, every sewage
and hyper
meeting.
local news has been de-emphasized and defunded
In great measures, right?
Yep.
So with the caveats of AI will make mistakes, et cetera, there are things that you can do now that you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
And is it worth doing that for that reason? And I think it is, with the caveats presented. Yes, you need to be transparent about it, but that's not a technology problem. That's a human problem. Be transparent about it. Say what you used it for. Give that caveat. Welcome criticism and correction. And then I think it's going to be helpful to people. So
Fascinating.
But we're still in this mode of AI has cooties, and if it touches you, you got the cooties now.
Right. And I pretty firmly believe that there are a large number of people that are calling the AI cooties thing. They're still using it behind the scenes. They're just covering their tracks.
Yeah. They're
You know what I
projecting.
mean?
Yep.
I think that there's a lot of that going on, whether people want to admit it or not. Yeah, it's just it's a weird moment for this stuff. It's like everybody's using it, but because of the cootie factor, not everybody's talking about how they use it. You know, if I wasn't doing an AI podcast with you, I'd probably be in a position where I'm like, God, I don't know how much I should be talking about this. Just because the environment is such that it makes you question how much you talk about how you use it. But that's the reality. That's the fact. Actually, this is kind of ties into it. Is that I've got this AI workshop coming up.
Yes, I saw you have a very nice ad for that, by the way. For those, go ahead, talk about it. Where is it, Jason?
Yeah, so it's in Healdsburg, California, for the two of you that are geographically anywhere near where this applies, and that's kind of less to the point. But I'm excited for it. It's in a couple of weeks. But the place that I'm holding it, she has her own kind of designer or design team or whatever that I was kind of working with the information, and she came back with the flyer, right? The flyer for this event, which was better than my handmade one.
It's very nice.
I'm not a designer, but I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty positive this was done with AI.
Sure.
Does it matter? Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, the images of us, like our profile images on it, looked weird. And so I was like, this looks great. I can tell, though, that the images were processed with AI. It kind of has this weird kind of me, but not quite me enough. And so I gave her the real profiles, and I was just like, can you put these on instead? And she swapped them in, and everything looks great and everything. But it's just interesting that, like, even a designer, right? Like, it's part of the tool process. How do you feel like you need to even say, I used AI for this? Or is it just a tool that everybody is using, whether we talk about it or not? And I think more and more that's becoming the case, is that it is a tool that everybody uses, but I just don't think everybody talks about their use of it. And should they? Maybe they don't need to. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I think it's rather like cybersecurity to an extent. We should just presume that your social security number is out there.
Yeah.
The question is, what then? If you're a company selling something, then you've got to protect people more. You can't make your customer vulnerable because somebody knows their social security number.
Yeah.
Or somebody knows their mother's maiden name. Right. And if that's all you rely upon, then that's your fault, because we should assume that it's all out there. Everything out there that can be hacked in that way has been hacked. I think the same is true of AI. We should just assume that that there's a good chance, not 100%, but a good chance someone used AI to create something. The problem comes if I looked at that flyer and I said, "That's not Jason. That's weird. That kind of creeps me out."
Yeah,
that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So you took the extra step, and she took the extra step to change it, to fix it. So it's not the AI; it's the human interaction. There's a story that I'm going to do this again. We didn't put in because I'm jamming more stories in, but I found it fascinating. There's a new EU law. The EU Artificial Intelligence Act. Sorry, Jason, this is down online.
Yep, got it.
You found it. Okay. Obligations of deployers of high-risk AI systems. So this says that deployers shall assign human oversight who have the necessary competence, training, and authority, as well as the necessary support to put up an AI model and make sure it's working. So this is kind of a statute that goes to what we're talking about. It makes it a legal obligation to say, you better fix this stuff. You better supervise your AI. And if it does something bad, if it does something wrong, it's your rump on the rack. Okay, we've just spent 5 minutes saying that's the right way to go. On the other hand, the use is going to be so voluminous, it's going to be impossible to check everything.
Right. How on earth do you actually?
And some of it's not worth checking.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Society is adjusting. Yes.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is.